Hey, how's it going, guys? It's Technical Tim here, and I want to thank everyone so much who's been liking all my videos and subscribing to the channel, and I'd really appreciate it if you gave this video a thumbs up or subscribe if you haven't already. And I'm going to do a quick final thoughts video on Edgar and Korean Zombie, the Korea card, and I do want to just tell you beforehand, I don't really have much on this card. No shame on kind of like passing for the most part on some cards, you know, out of like all the cards that we have per year, I probably have like, you know, 3 to 6 that I don't really have much action on, and this is going to be one of them. Just kind of like a lot of like lower level fights or a lot of question marks, so you don't want to give away profit, but I'll still go through each fight. But on the ones that I really feel like I have nothing to add, I'm just going to say pass because I don't have any like strong thoughts or anything else to add. And so there will be a few I just pass on and don't really talk about. But as far as like schedule going ahead, I'm not going to do any videos. This is going to be my last one until after Christmas, I believe. And then I'll probably do like a year-end. I'm going to do like an award video where I kind of like give out fight of the year and things like that, just kind of in my opinion. And I'll kind of like make some of the awards kind of like with a betting angle too, to make it fun. I'll just kind of fuck around and do that. And then I have a couple picks already for the McGregor and Cowboy card, and I'll kind of start doing a lot of people seem to like the Usman and Covington kind of in-depth video where I really went into the numbers, and so on my picks on those couple fights, I'll do like a single video coming out maybe like around, you know, a couple days after Christmas or something, so maybe sometime next week. But yeah, let's get to it. So Miranda Granger and Lemos, and then Benoit and Alatang, I'm just going to pass on those and not really talk about them. But Said Nurmagomedov and Barcelos is a pretty interesting fight. One of the two more high-level fights on the card. I picked up some Nurmagomedov at plus 150 solely to arb. I'm not playing it because I knew with that striking ratio that line wasn't going to last. But even though Said's only had like, you know, really like 4 rounds or so in the UFC, a lot of people seem to think that he got beat by Scoggins, but when I watched it at the time, I didn't think so. Then when I rewatched, like, you can make an argument for Scoggins, but I thought Said won. Like, I mean, he outlanded him every round, and like there were 2, he clearly won round 3, and I thought he outstruck him in round 1, landed good leg kicks, and he wasn't really getting hit all that much. So I thought Said won that fight, and I just feel like Barcelos striking, like, he gets hit, and at times Gutierrez was landing a lot of calf kicks on him, and even that Huachin guy was really, really landing a lot of good strikes, and I feel like if Said's tough to hit. He manages distance really well, and Barcelos doesn't get a ton of takedowns per 15 minutes. Barcelos was even outstruck by Holloway on the numbers as well, and I just feel like I tend to lead Said. I'm not playing it. Like, I think both guys are legit, but I tend to lean Said here. I'm still just going to arb out, but I don't know. I wouldn't play him now at minus 120 or whatever he is, because I expect a competitive fight. But I like Said's kind of like distance control, and I feel like he can land a lot of low kicks, and I tend to favor him a bit in this matchup, but I don't have strong opinions on that, but I just wanted to kind of throw that out there. And then Schnell and Pantoja, this was one fight, kind of the main fight I thought about playing, and of course Pantoja's getting steam now, but I had thought about playing Pantoja when he was about minus 180, and I was kind of researching it, and then the line got steamed a little bit, and he went over minus 200, and he just got steamed more. He's at like minus 230 now. And I tend to favor him around like in the minus 200 range. So I think he's about where he should be. I would maybe even favor him like minus 250. But he keeps up a little higher volume of strikes, and I feel like he just has more power. And I feel like I feel like sometimes Schnell doesn't deal with forward pressure very well. And if you watch the Inoue fight and other fights where he's kind of fared well in the striking, I feel like it's when he's not being pressured too hard. But I feel like Pantoja will be able to land a lot of low kicks, a lot of jabs, and kind of just walk him down. And even though Schnell wins a lot by triangle choke, I think him going for triangle chokes will just allow Pantoja to pass if he gets on top. Pantoja doesn't land a ton of takedowns, but I could see him landing in top position once or twice in this fight. And I tend to think Pantoja, if you watch his a lot of his fights and his numbers as well, he gets a lot of passes per every takedown that he gets. So he's always advancing position. And I don't think Schnell can triangle somebody like Pantoja, and I think Pantoja will be able to advance position and probably get Schnell's back. So I feel like he's at an advantage on the floor. And although I think the feet I feel like Schnell can be competitive at times on the feet, but I do favor Pantoja just stylistically and from a numbers point of view. And I just kind of feel like he has Schnell checkmated everywhere. Schnell could win maybe like a marginal kickboxing fight. I could see that, but I still favor Pantoja on the feet. And yeah, I can't play him now at like minus 230 or whatever he is, but if the line kicked back to under minus 200, I would think about it. But those of you who got Pantoja at his earlier line, I would ride that out because I think it's going to cash. Choi and Mokhtarian, I don't have much to say. Ma and Morales, I played Holtzman as a juice favorite against Ma because Ma's he just gets hit too much. He gets hit way too much, and he doesn't have the best top control, and he doesn't land all that much either. He's a tough guy. He can produce some exciting type of fights, but I feel like he just doesn't have clear ways to win fights all the time. And I feel like Morales will probably outstrike him here, but I just don't know enough about Morales. I kind of just saw him on the Contender Series against kind of a lower level opponent. So I didn't dislike what I saw on the Contender Series. It's just not enough information for me to like pull the trigger on a minus 200 kind of unknown. But I tend to lean Morales there, but I just don't know enough about him. Gane and Boser, I feel like a lot of people are chasing Boser as a dog here, and I don't think you should waste your time with it. I'm pretty high on Gane, and I think he should win this fight, but don't really have much to say. I just like Gane's overall. It's his striking defense I like, and he moves very, very well for a heavyweight, and he can even mix in takedowns at times, and I feel like, he's got some physical advantages here as well. And whenever I was researching, I forgot the exact. Let me look. Yeah. I mean, he's got an 81-inch reach, and he's 6'4". And Boser's a 75-inch reach, 6'2". So I feel like that will help him too, just kind of like with the volume game. And the thing is, like, the reason I don't like Boser that much as a dog play is, like, even though it's heavyweight and shit happens, I feel like why heavyweights get knocked out so often is they get hit clean. I don't even know if it's how hard they hit. I mean, they obviously hit hard, but I feel like it's because heavyweights get hit clean so easily because they don't move well. Where I feel like Gane he moves well, and he just doesn't get hit clean all that often because he actually has striking defense. Like a guy like Daniel Cormier isn't going to get knocked out clean all that often because he moves well and has some speed. And so I feel like Boser's chance at like kind of just a random heavyweight KO is probably unlikely. And I don't even think Boser hits all that hard himself. So I just feel like he doesn't really have a flash knockout. I mean, it could happen. It's still MMA, but I think it's a lower percentage for a flash knockout in this fight than most heavyweight fights. So that's why I don't think people should bother. I think they should just pass on the fight. Kang and Pingyang, I don't have much to say about that. Park and Barry, No play here as well. I tend to lean Barrialt because I mean, Sanchez and Joko are tough, and I mean, he fought them both well just from a macro point of view, but I tend to think he could probably compete on the feet a little bit, even though Park might be throwing more volume. But if you watch Barrialt kind of on the regionals, he can wrestle a little bit. And I feel like that win condition of him wrestling isn't going to show against someone like Jotko or Sanchez, because they're both really legit grapplers, like very good grapplers just in comparison to the best in the division at middleweight. So he wasn't able to show that, but if you watch his regionals, he can wrestle actually pretty decently. And I feel like Park just doesn't have very good takedown defense. He springs up pretty well, but I feel like his get-ups were kind of getting worse and worse as the fight went, and I could see Barrialt really having success with grappling, especially in the later half of the fight, because Barrialt seems to be able to keep a pace as well. So I tend to favor him there, but don't feel too strongly about it. Jung and Rodriguez, I don't feel strongly about these ones either. I tend to lean Rodriguez a little more. I feel like he's got a little more precision on his strikes, and I wasn't very impressed with Jung's last performance against Ibrahimov. And then I don't have anything to say about Doo Ho Choi and Jourdain. Rakic and Ozdemir, this is kind of like another one. I've liked everything. I've liked what I've seen from both guys lately. I feel like Ozdemir's cardio has looked a lot better, and he uses that forward pressure and is constantly landing kind of a lot of strikes. So I feel like he could probably, and he's tough in first rounds. So I feel like in any first round, from a round winning perspective, he can really compete with anyone in that first round. And he's slowing down less and less, but Rakic, I like his pace. I really like his low kicks and his overall kind of striking awareness, but both of these guys have great striking numbers overall. I tend to favor Rakic with the cardio and maybe with the speed a little more, but I could see Ozdemir having success with that forward pressure, especially early. But with like Rakic, I just haven't seen him in like against another like solid striker yet. And I don't know if he can just, I forget which fight, but he kind of used wrestling in one fight, and I feel like he used wrestling more with athleticism than actual skill, because he's fine, like you could use athleticism with wrestling, but I feel like Ozdemir has gotten competent enough there where Rakic is going to have to compete on the feet, and I tend to think I like Rakic to win this fight, but I just haven't seen him go against a really, like a pressure striker like Ozdemir yet, so I really don't know. And both guys obviously hit hard, so a KO could happen for either side, but I tend to think the line's fine. Like, I would probably favor Rakic a little bit here. I tend to lean him a little bit, but I feel like there's enough question marks, and Ozdemir is a tough enough out to where you just kind of have to stay away from it. And then Edgar and Jung, I've seen a lot of people on liking Frankie here, and the more I tape the fight, I think Jung has a pretty big advantage on the feet, because although Frankie does well at defending and not getting hit all that often, he has trouble landing strikes a lot, and I liked Jung's volume striking against Yair, and I feel like he can kind of just walk you down. He cage cuts well. And he'll be able to land the more damaging shots overall here. Not that Frankie's completely fucked on the feet, but I think it's a pretty clear advantage for Jung. But then on the mat, I think Edgar's wrestling has depleted over the years, like just his overall takedown ability, and it's showing. He's not landing nearly as much takedowns anymore. He did it versus Yair, but Yair gets stuck on his back very easily. You saw it versus Jeremy Stevens. But I just don't have enough faith in Edgar to really get his wrestling going. But at the same time, if you really look at Jung's record, he's like never fought a wrestler. It's kind of amazing how in his career he's just you saw that with Max Holloway. I guess featherweight just doesn't have all that many good wrestlers, I feel. So I tend to think Yeah, because like Holloway, I remember going into the Poirier fight, we hadn't seen Holloway go against up like mid. It was clear he probably had good takedown defense, I feel, but it wasn't tested enough good wrestlers because there's not that many wrestlers in that weight class. But I feel like Korean Zombie just doesn't really have many matchups against good wrestlers. So I don't have like a large sample of him being able to stop takedowns. But he does come from that judo base, and you know, like 7 years ago or however long it was against Poirier, he showed off some grappling chops. I tend to think he's probably competent there and can stop takedowns for the most part. But it's still a question mark. So, yeah, that's kind of tough. Like, I mean, if Korean Zombie shows to have solid takedown defense, the line's completely justified. So it's kind of like, I feel like you're kind of playing blind, so that's why I'm not going to play. But that's my overall opinions on the card. Sorry, I don't have much. Really, the only thing I'm looking at is I'm going to eye if Pantoja's line improves, and that's pretty much it. There's a lot of, like, rightfully deserved juiced favorites that I don't want to play. And there's a lot of just kind of lower level fights, and there's, like, no reason to waste your money on it. And, yeah, I mean, it's not that you can't profit still, but I just feel like there's not a ton of like really good situations here. But thank you so much. Comment below, and if you have any questions or anything, also comment below. And happy holidays to you all. Thank you.